looking at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia Sportage. There are two different versions of the cluster screen available and two different versions of the infotainment. If you want to walk through on the other version, if it's available, you'll find it down in the description of this video, along with walkthrough links to the previous generation versions as well. But let's dive in and I'll show you what you need to know. First thing I'm going to point out is that the steering wheel inside of the vehicle is going to be manual telescoping across the lineup. So just down by your left knee along the left side of the column there's a release to go in, out, up and down to find that perfect position. Once you find it, click it in order to lock it back into place. The steering wheel in the vehicle is also heated. So down by the right side here, you've got your heated button with two unique levels, and it's heated all the way around. And there are so many different buttons in stocks, but along the left-hand side here, you've got a few other buttons. You can increase or decrease the brightness of the cluster screen this way if you'd like to. You can open and close the liftgate, toggle traction control on or off. The only time I'd really recommend turning it off is wintertime driving if you're not getting good wheel traction. Your electronic parking brake is there, so you're just going to pull towards you to turn it on, push and hold the brake pedal, push away in order to turn that parking brake off. And then you may have seat memory available as an option here. So what you're going to do, get your driver's seat set up the way that you'd like to. So forwards, backwards, up and down. Adjust your backrest with multi-way lumbar support. Once you've got that set up, you're then going to set up your side view mirrors. So if it's in the middle there, you're not adjusting anything. So you got to go left or right in order to be able to adjust out your side view mirror. Once you've got all of that set up the way that you'd like to, so your side view mirrors and your seat, you're going to push and hold 1 or 2 in order for it to remember your own personal profile, which is pretty neat. And then you've got so many different buttons and stocks that are available here too. Start off with the stock along the left-hand side. This is going to be for your light control. So, I mean, you've obviously got your blinker there with the option for your blind spot view monitor, but with your lights, you can flash your high beams out no problem, but during the daytime, you can only put yourself into the auto headlamp mode. So what that means is that if the vehicle recognizes high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off before turning them right back on again. If you wanted to permanently lock your high beams out at nighttime, you can still push away to do it, but it's still auto, so they can still turn off. So if you go into the upper headlamp mode, you can then push away to turn them on, pull towards you to turn them off, and that's going to be a permanent on or off that way instead. And then you've also got your fog lamps on or off that way. The stock along the right-hand side here is going to be for your wipers. So if you go one level down, that's just going to be an individual wipe. If you go up a level, that's your auto or intermittent level. So you can then move the rocker in the middle there to say how fast or slow rain's hitting the windshield, or go up to one of those crazy modes. Along the outside there, you've also got control for your rear wiper. You're going to pull in towards you to get the front wiper fluid going, and then you're going to push away in order to get that rear wiper fluid going instead. And then there are so many different buttons. We'll start off with the ones along the left-hand side. So this is going to be for your cruise control. There's only a single type of cruise control available inside of the Sportage, and it's going to be the adaptive or smart cruise control system. So you set it at 80. If the car in front of you slows down, yours will automatically brake. They change lanes, you change lanes, it's going to pick you back up to your previously set speed. That's the only option that's available, so you won't have the old school cruise control, unfortunately. By using the system, all you do, push there in order to be able to toggle it on. Now it said that because I'm parked right now, so as you start driving, tap there in order to turn it on, and it sets you at your current speed. You could then increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time, push and hold up or push and hold down to increase, decrease at larger increments. You can hit the brake in order to cancel or temporarily pause your speed. You can push the button in the middle here to temporarily pause or cancel, and then push again in order to resume your previously set speed. Then there's also a distance indicator with 4 unique levels. Think of that like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi for how close or far you are away from that leading vehicle. I'm personally okay on level 1 most of the time, but you might want to be on level 2, 3, or 4 depending on your own personal comfort level. You can also adjust a few things out inside of the infotainment. So under your setup, go to your vehicle, and then driving assistance, driving convenience, and then you've got smart cruise control. So you can actually have it change based off of your driving style, but you can adjust out the distance. So you can either adjust it out this way or using the button there that I showed you. You can also set how fast or slow the vehicle accelerates. So if it slows you down and then somebody changes lanes, how fast is it going to try to pick you back up to your previously set speed? I'm okay with a quick acceleration. And then how fast or slow do you want it to react? So let's say if there's a car in front of you and they start slamming on their brakes, do you want it to react quickly or do you want it to react a little bit more gradually? I'm personally a bigger fan of the gradual setting. You could, for the acceleration side of things, hit the accelerator pedal at any point in time to speed up faster. You can hit the brake in order to slow down faster. You just have to then resume your previously set speed there too. But that's using the cruise control system. If you want a live demonstration of actually using it, you'll find it in the description. Then you've got this little feller. So that is going to be, so cruise control conditions are not met. So as you go to drive, so this one here, you tap in order to turn it on. And what's going to happen there, that's the lane follow assist. The car is not self-driving, but as long as you've got that system enabled, as long as the lanes are recognized, it's going to keep you perfectly balanced around bends. It is a beautiful system. Then there's also the lane keep assist. So if you take that same button and push and hold it, see how that little icon there has gone away? So that's going to be the difference between. So the lane follow assist, if you just tap, that's going to be the one that keeps you perfectly balanced. The lane keep assist, if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling and it recognizes the lane markings, it'll nudge you back into your lane. You've got this little pages button in order to get to different parts of the cluster screen there, and then a scroll wheel, which I'll touch on in a second. You've got your two buttons down here. So there's a drive mode, 3 options. So you've either got a normal mode, sport, or you can create your own custom drive mode there. And then you've got terrain modes. So they're going to play with traction control, stability control, put on downhill brake control, etc. So if you're going off pavement, you've got different options that are available there too. You've got a few different buttons here. I'll touch on these ones in a second. You've got this switch up and down in order to change between any presets that you've got set up. You can push and hold up as well if you wanted it to act as a seek button. So push and hold up or push and hold down in order to change out stations. There's a voice command prompt here. So you can just tap that if you wanted to activate your assistant for the infotainment system. So changing songs, stations, navigating, etc. If you were hooked up over an Android or an iPhone, you could do a longer push and hold in order to activate either your Siri or a Google Assistant, or if there's no phone connected, set up a phone. You've got a volume rocker there, so adjust your volume out, push in the middle to be able to mute, and then you can also answer or hang up on a phone call this way. And then there are a few different settings inside of the infotainment system. So if you go to your setup option along the very bottom, vehicle, we've already seen that driving assistance option there too, but you've got lights. And lights, the ones we want to look at. So your touch turn signal. So you've got either 1 flash, 3, 5, or 7. So when you hit the turn stalk, just down there, so is it 3 flashes there, or is it 5, 7, or 1? When you go to lock the vehicle, do the lights just turn off, or do they stay on for up to 15 seconds? And then the other one is the high beam assist. So that's the one where you push away to get to the auto mode. Do you want that high beam assist on? Yay or nay? Inside of the cluster screen, you've got your current fuel level done 2 different ways. So it's either kilometers or miles till empty. Whether or not that auto start stop system is enabled, disabled, along with auto hold, etc. You can see the outside temperature, what gear you're in, so park, reverse, neutral, drive, etc. When you're in drive or reverse, if you've got the sensing system, so the side, front, rear, etc., all of your sensors will show up there. When you're in drive, you can also change out between gears that way using the hand shifter, but you can also adjust your gears out using paddles. If you've never used paddles before or a manual shifter, you want a better explanation of when to use them, how to use them, why to use them, etc., you'll find that down in the description of this video. You can see your current engine temperature there, along with your odometer along the outside there. And then you've got a few different other icons here for cruise control if you've got the lane following system, things like that, toggled on. Now, you can also customize the look of the cluster screen here a little bit. Inside of the infotainment system, if you go to your setup for a second here, and then screen layout, that's going to give you the flexibility of adjusting the cluster screen. So if you wanted a circle style or simple. So run simple right now versus circle gives you that old school look instead. I'm personally a bigger fan there. And then you can also change up the style. So as we go between different modes, so sport mode versus your individual mode, so it's going to change up the look. You can also lock it into any style there. So whether you're in simple or circular. So if you love the look of the sport mode, because it is slightly different. So if you go to normal mode for a second and link it, as you jump between, you can see there, it just makes it a slightly more aggressive. But if you like the look of the sport mode, but you like the performance of the normal mode, you can lock it in to any of those styles if you'd like to. Back inside of the cluster screen, you've got your pages button along the outside here. So you've got 3 individual pages, so you can see your different icons along the very bottom. This first one is going to be your different trip counters. So you've got your current trip. That's from the last time the vehicle was turned back on. Your since refueling is since you fueled the vehicle up, how far have you gotten? And then you've got this is basically like your total trip counter instead. Now some of these, you'll see that it's okay to reset. So if you take that little scroll wheel, push and hold the middle, that's going to let you reset it back to 0 again. And then if you see, on the very middle there, so we're averaging right now 10.6 liters per 100. It's a bit worse because I'm sitting here doing an explainer video, but you can see right in the middle, that's 10.6 liters per 100. It'd obviously be the same if you were miles per gallon, etc. And then you've got auto start stop. See your tire pressure as you go to drive, you'll be able to see what your tire pressure is. You can set that up for PSI, kPa, or bar. And then power distribution. If you were in front wheel drive, you obviously wouldn't have that rear power there, but you can see which axle is getting which amount of power, and then your current digital speed. Pushing the pages button again gets you to your basic compass view, but if you've got an active route going,
the route guidance will start now.
You've got your turn-by-turn directions there.
100 meters, turn left and then turn left.
So it's not full mapping cluster, but you've at least got your turn-by-turn directions there. And then as you move off to one of the other pages, you've got your turn-by-turn directions there too. When you're on this page, you can tap the OK button there in order to get to a boatload of different settings inside of the infotainment system. But if you want to walk through in the infotainment, you'll find that down in the description of this video. You've got your different buttons that are available there too. So you've got your one custom button down there, but there are the 2 different options along the steering wheel. So this one here, what does that do? So you tap that button, do you want it to turn the display off, go to your home screen, etc. So now when you tap that button, toggles the display off. And then just tap again. And then you've got your mode button, which is going to be this one here, and that's changing between all of your available sources. So if you have a tendency to listen to sounds of nature, FM, Sirius XM, etc., when you hit that button now, you can see there, it's changing between all of the setup sources. You've got your up-down buttons there as well, and then your volume tuning rocker buttons there too. And then there is, I guess I should say there are 2 other things that you should know. One of them is going to be measurement units. So you've got your miles or kilometers. So you've got the flexibility of being able to easily adjust it out one way or the other there if you'd like to, and it just adjusts everything out, even as you get into your different trip counters there. Actually go down 1 or 2 pages there. Look at that, just updates everything beautifully. It's the benefit of it being a fully digital cluster. And then you can also change out your temperature units down there too. So as we go to our temperature screen, do you want to be in either Celsius or Fahrenheit? If you're going kilometers, you want to make sure you're in liters per 100. That's the one that you're going to be used to. And then you can also adjust out your tire pressure unit. So do you want to be in PSI, kPa, or bar? Some versions of the Sportage also are going to have a head-up display. Inside of the infotainment system, you'll be able to select what info is showing up there. So you'll be able to toggle the display on or off, first of all, if you'd like to. But then you can also adjust things out. So you can adjust out the height. So do you want it sitting higher or lower? You can also adjust the rotation left or right, just depending on how you tend to sit on your seat. You can adjust the brightness of the head-up display. I always recommend keeping on a maximum brightness to make it easier to see. And then you can also adjust out the content that shows up. So do you want your turn-by-turn directions there, yes or no? So you've got your map going. That's strictly for factory navigation. As you go change between different sources, different stations, etc., it's going to show you what station you're currently listening to. So you've got that available. Do you want your call information showing up, etc.? Blind spot safety as well. So if somebody enters the blind spot on either side, it's going to show you along either side there, letting you know that somebody's entered that blind spot. From there, you're either going to have all of your basic buttons here or all of your climate controls, just based off of this setting here. So just tap in the middle to change. When you are on this screen, it's going to be a volume rocker, tuning rocker with some basic climate settings, and that hot button pushes to get to individual elements of the infotainment system. But if you're on this little feller, that's when you can adjust out all of your different climate control settings. So with the climate, if your passenger side is set up to something different, you would then just tap sync in order to sync it up to the driver's side. Do you want to turn on your front defroster, have this go into your windshield face feet, some sort of Frankenstein combination, adjust it your fan speed, etc. From there, you've got your different USB power points. So this one is going to be a power point and a charge port. So let's just say a data transfer port there too. So it's either going to be strictly for charging or charging and data transfer. There's the wireless charge pad there. Push start. You might have either the hand shifter here or it'll be a little dial, just depending on which version of the vehicle that you're in. So if you're in the regular gas version, it'll be a hand shifter. If you're in any of the hybrids, it'll be a little rotary instead. One of the things I like about this, feels good in the hand, but you've also got a manual mode there, along with your paddle shifters there too. You've got your heated steering wheel button, along with heated first row seats in most trims, with the option for ventilated down there too. There's a button here for downhill brake control, so you can toggle that one on, off, etc. With auto start stop, every time you turn the vehicle off and then back on again, you have to toggle this off if you don't want it. With it turned on right now, when you come down to a complete stop, you might notice that the engine turns off. This one is going to be for your sensing system, so that beeping that you get as you get closer to obstacles. Auto hold is a neat one too, so with that one turned on, if you're in gear, take your foot off the brake, the car is not going to move. And then there's also a button here for your available camera. So the 360 cam is not standard. You'll at least have the backup camera there with a basic back view. But you've also got, like I said, your surround view monitor there. That's just beautiful, being able to see what's going on all the way around you. I like it. If you have an option, or if you have the highest trim level, I should say, you can also push and hold that button to get to full park assist, so it can help out with parallel perpendicular parking. If you want to walk through on how that's used, you'll find it in the description. Up overhead, auto-dimming rear view mirror is there in most of the highest trims, along with the HomeLink system, so if you've got a garage door opener at home. There's an SOS and tow mode, just in case. And then your cabin control lights. You can toggle your cabin lights on this way. This one here, whether or not the lights are going to come on when the doors are opened, yay or nay. And then a control for the available panoramic sunroof. I know that was a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel, as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia Sportage.